Paul, the apostle to the Christian community that he had founded at Corinth Grace, the first letter of Paul to the Corinthians and the second letter of Paul to the Corinthians, are the seventh and eighth books of the New Testament canon. St. Paul the Apostle writing his epistle. The life of Paul. Paul was a Greek-speaking Jew from Asia Minor. His birthplace, Tarsus, was a major city in eastern Cilicia, a region that had been made part of the Roman province of Syria by the time of Paul's adulthood. Two of the main cities of Syria, Damascus and Antioch, played a prominent part in his life and letters. Saint Paul the Apostle was born sometime during the 5th century AD. He was Jewish by birth and studied in the Bible school in Jerusalem. Saint Paul the Apostle was well versed in Jewish law and Greek culture. Saint Paul is also credited with writing 13 books of the Bible out of the 27 books in the New Testament. Who is Paul in the Bible and what did he do?
Paul is a troublemaker.
Yes. Paul is often considered to be the most important person after Jesus in the history of Christianity. His epistles or letters have had enormous influence on Christian theology, especially on the relationship between God the Father and Jesus, and on the mystical human relationship with the divine. How did Saul become Paul? After 6 or 7 years, Barnabas traveled to Tarsus, found Saul, and took him to Antioch, where for a year they taught the people of that city about Jesus. Barnabas and Saul then traveled to Jerusalem and back to Antioch, where they preached the gospel. About this time, Saul began to be called by his Latin name Paul. First letters of Corinthians, probably written about 53 or 54 CE at Ephesus, Asia Minor, deals with problems that arose in the early years after Paul's initial missionary visit c. 50 to 51 to Corinth and his establishment there of a Christian community. What was the purpose of Paul's first letters to Corinthians? Paul wrote this letter to correct what he saw as erroneous views in the Corinthian church. Several sources inform Paul of conflicts within the church of Corinth. Paul lost a letter from the Corinthians, the household of Chloe, and finally Stephanas and his two friends who had visited Paul. But the primary message of First Corinthians is evergreen. Followers of Jesus are held to a standard of integrity and morality as we seek to represent His new way of life to our communities. Paul addresses a variety of experiences and seeks to help the church see them through the lens of the gospel message. In the second letter, Paul expresses his joy at the news just received from Titus that the Corinthians had repented, that his Paul's authority among them had been reaffirmed, and that troublemaker had been punished. To express gratitude to and strengthen the saints who had responded favorably to his previous letter, to warn of false teachers who corrupted teaching the pure doctrines of Christ, to defend his personal character and authority as an apostle of Jesus Christ. See 2 Corinthians 10-13. So the second letter of Corinthians is important. Paul Barnett believes for its magnificent message that God's power is brought to people in their weakness, not in human strength. This momentous them emerges in a dramatic real-life situation. But the main message of Paul's letter to the Corinthians is throughout the letter Paul presents issues that are troubling the community in Corinth and offers ways to fix them. Paul states that this letter is to admonish them as beloved children. They are expected to become imitators of Jesus and follow the ways in Christ as he Paul teaches in all his churches.